Hello, and welcome to the interview show. I'm your host, Sean McCullough, and today we will be focusing on censorship. In particular, Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Let's give Mark Twain a nice warm welcome. Now, before we get started on the book itself being censored, let's get some background about you. Like, who are you, and where are you from?
Okay, let's do it.
When and where were you born, Mr. Twain?
Well, I was born in Florida, Missouri on November 30th, 1835, and my real name isn't Mark Twain. It's Samuel Langhorne Clemens.
So, Mr. Twain, when did you learn about your first love of writing?
Well, it started when I was 13, a year after my father's tragic death. I left school to become a printer's apprentice at a newspaper, and 2 years later, I joined my brother Orion at a separate newspaper as a printer and editorial apprentice.
Where did this interest of writing take you?
Well, this interest took me to St. Louis at the age of 17. I left for a printer's job there, but I soon became a river pilot instead. I got my license for river piloting in 1858, and my pseudonym, Mark Twain, comes from that job. In river pilot terms, Mark Twain means 2 fathoms, or 12 feet.
If you became a river pilot, then how'd you get right back into writing?
Well, I started writing again because the Civil War caused the river trade to come to a halt, so I was forced to write for newspapers around the country.
Now, when did your fame as a writer really begin?
Well, my first big story was published in the New York Saturday Press, and it was called The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. And I soon followed that with my first book, called The Innocents Abroad, in 1869.
When did you write The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn?
Well, I wrote Tom Sawyer in 1876. I wrote Huckleberry Finn in 1885.
So, Mr. Twain, when did you die?
I died on April 21st, 1910.
Now that we have some background about you, Mr. Twain, now we can ask about the topic at hand, the censorship of Huckleberry Finn. Now, even after 100 years of it being published, it still gets lots of attention. Now, why do you think this is?
Well, most recently, my book, Huckleberry Finn, has been receiving lots of notice due to the fact that Professor Alan Gribben of Auburn University and Alabama-based publisher New South Books has censored over 200 words in the book. However, my book has been receiving criticism even since it's published in 1885 due to its racially abusive and derogatory language.
So, Mr. Twain, what words were replaced in your book?
Well, the N-word was replaced with the word slave, and Indian was exchanged for Indian.
From where has the support of censorship come from?
Well, the major part of support has come from parents of kids in schools who feel uncomfortable with their children reading kind of material with such racial tension, or whose children feel uncomfortable when the book was read out loud in class. Another large group of support has come from teachers and professors who feel that due to parents challenging it, the book has fallen off of school reading lists. So this is a way for the book to be revived in their eyes.
We have learned who your opponents are and what they believe, but who is supporting you?
Well, support for my book not being censored has come from the American Library Association, many literature scholars, numerous internet bloggers, and lots of everyday people like you and me who have read and enjoyed Huckleberry Finn without it being censored.
And what arguments do you and your supporters have against Huckleberry Finn not being censored?
Well, one of our main cases has been that this version, the uncensored version, teaches children today about what America used to be like, whether it's a good America or a bad and embarrassing America. Our second reason has been that the censored version cheats children out of learning necessary and important lessons. Our final reason is through my personal feeling. I used those racial slurs, one, to use language appropriate to the time and location of the story, and 2, to show how slavery is bad for everyone.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We thank you, Mark Twain, for coming out to our interview show.
Thank you.